John F. Kennedy High School in Somers, New York. VIP Cable Channel 12 and Radio 13 WVIP bring you high school football action in the VIP game of the week as the Gales of Kennedy entertain the Tuskers of Somers. Well, welcome to the John F. Kennedy High School. Superb weather here this afternoon for high school football. Tom Baroni along with Tim Malsbury, our expert guest commentator for high school football. And Timmy, we have a big game, a rivalry here this afternoon between the Tuskers, the favorites going into this contest, against the Gales of Kennedy, who last weekend in Armonk upset the Bobcats of Byram Hills 7-0 psychologically. They have the edge going into this game with their first big win last Saturday afternoon. Your thoughts on what we can expect here?
Absolutely, Boom. And they finally got the big win last week, only putting 7 points on the board, but shutting out Byram Hills. Before that, they hadn't won a contest. But this is going to be a tough game today. Rich Ganitta, the Somers Tuskers, will be coming over here to the JFK campus to play a very good team in John F. Kennedy. They've lost a lot of games, Tom, but they're coming off, as you mentioned, they've got a psychological win, coming off a big win last week. So they're going to have an edge today in this game. But Ganitta's got a very good team, offensively sound. They're 3-2 on the year. They're coming off a tough loss, 14-0 to Brewster. And let's not forget, only let Brewster score 14 points.
The Tuskers of Somers, they like to run the ball a lot. They have 3 fine backs. You had a chance to talk to head coach Rich Ganitta a short time ago. What is he going to expect here this afternoon against Kennedy? Is he going to go with his running game and his 3 fine backs, or is quarterback Kevin Holleran going to go to the air?
Oh, as you mentioned, he's got 3 excellent backs. So he's going to use his backs today if he can. Of course, I talked to him. He's going to throw the ball quite a bit, too, because he's got a good quarterback. So they've got a lot of weapons, is what we should say, Tom, such as Fox Lane does. They're fundamentally sound, offensively, defensively, a lot of weapons coming out of the backfield. Ganitta's got a lot of weapons also. So he's going to use them on the ground today as often as he can. But if the ground game doesn't work, he'll put the ball in the air, and they can be successful that way. The record is 3-2, but they look to advance to 4-2 today. This is a rival game, a big game. The crowds are starting to roll in right now. It should be an exciting contest.
As for Kennedy, they love to use the wing T offense. Coach Bob Middlestat in his first year with the Gales, a protege having coached under Dick Rote down at Pleasantville for a number of years. Pleasantville, of course, the user of most high schools here of the wing T offense. We expect Kennedy to use it here this afternoon. Is it going to generate a victory here for Kennedy? Can we expect their quarterback Mike Hoggy to run the ball a lot in using the wing T, or are they going to go to the eye?
Hoggy can run, but let's keep one thing in mind. Middlestat, the head coach of John F. Kennedy, got his job cut out, Tom. 20 out of 22 of the seniors last year that were on the ball club are no longer there this year. Out of 30 players on a team, around 15 of them are seniors. The rest are juniors. 6 guys go offensively and defensively. As you mentioned, the excellent quarterback in Mike Hoggy, who is a senior at about 6'6", he's around 6 foot, 5'11", he's about 6 foot, 175 pounds, I should say, Boom. He can run the ball a lot. He can throw the ball very well. He also goes defensively. That's tough. Anytime you have a quarterback, you get into the 3rd or 4th quarter, and you've got your quarterback going both ways. He's going to be exhausted physically and mentally. So it's tough. That's why they've only won 1 contest, but they do have a psychological edge today, as you mentioned, coming off a 7-0 win. They can beat the Tuskers of Somers, but they've got a tough job ahead of them today, and maybe this home field advantage in the crowd can help them out.
So we will see whether or not the wing T offense used by Gales coach Bob Middlestat will pay off here this afternoon, or whether or not the fine running game with the 3 backs that Richie Ganitta's Somers Tuskers have will give them the key and the victory here. And we'll be back with the start of the contest. We'll be joining Rich Leaf and Phil DeRocca right after this.
Of our national anthem, we're just about set for football action on this unbelievably warm Saturday afternoon in late October. Philip, I remember days you and I up in this van late in October with our mittens and gloves and scarves on. Here we are in our shirt sleeves. Is it too hot for football at this time of the year? Is it going to affect the play of these teams here?
I think what has to happen is that they have to be in great condition. If they're not in great condition, a day like today will catch up with you in the fourth quarter. And this is why, going back now to August, when they began, those first 5 days of conditioning and then the preseason conditioning becomes very important, providing that they have continued to do it. And there have been falls when you get weather like this where it's going to be in the 70s, and the conditioning may show come fourth period.
Okay, right now both teams about a third of the way off the sidelines. As the co-captains meeting at the center of the field, the co-captains out there for Kennedy, Paul Casey, William Papp and John Dunphy, and Tony Chaka and Tom Gorman representing the Somers Tuskers, and explaining the rules and tossing the coin, of course, an old friend and a gentleman who's been roughing football. Well, I don't think we'll say how many years. He's currently the acting superintendent of schools down in your school district, Phil, Irvington, Mr. Tony Sabella. And I tell you really couldn't have a better referee here than Mr. Sabella.
Well, I'll tell you, he's top of the line, and he's been doing it for over 3 decades in football and in basketball. He is the interpreter of both boards, basketball and football, for probably over 20-something years. He at one time even did baseball, but he said that game didn't have a clock involved, so that's when he started to step out. And I've got to watch what I say because his wonderful wife, Jules, is back home listening today.
All right, and looks like Somers has won the toss. Dale will receive the football. And, of course, Tony Sabella, for many years, the superintendent of schools at the Bedford Central School District. And I know at least one of his daughters, Susie, was very active in the sports program at Fox Lane High School.
Right. Susan was always very active in terms of writing, scorekeeping, managing, whatever she could do. And she's now up at Boston College, and I believe she's in her junior or senior year, hoping to complete her college undergraduate degree.
Okay, let's get ready for football. Somers huddling right in front of us around head coach Rich Ganida. They are standing at 3-2. And in talking of their league and Conference B, this is really a must game for them. John Jay took over first place last night with their victory over Brewster. And, of course, Somers plays John Jay next week, so if they want to have any chance in maybe taking a share of that first place spot, they're going to have to win this football game here this afternoon. Whereas Kennedy just looking to get their program off the ground. As you mentioned, a new head coach in Bob Middlestat, and they picked up their first win last week against Byram Hills.
But that win last week, Rich, was a league encounter. So, in essence, they are really 1-0 in the league, and they sort of feel inside that they are starting from scratch at this point. They feel that some things began to click last week, and they're going to go from here. Naturally, when you have a new coach and you put in a new system, you're going to have the type of mistakes that they have been making. Also, they are a very young club. They graduated 20 out of 22 last year, and I tell you, for a Class B school, that's a lot of seniors to have on a squad. So Bob Middlestat, not only was he new, but he had a great rebuilding job to do.
All right, Russell Liu, one of the fine running backs for Somers, is in the deep formation as we get set for the kickoff. He is flanked by number 44, Tony Chaka, and number 42, Paul Geminer, also back there. And getting ready to kick off for the JFK Gales is Mike Hauge, who is also the quarterback. And here's the kick. We are underway. Straight down the middle of the field where Lou has it at the 10, 15, 20, 25, got some room. He gets it up close to the 30-yard line, over the 30, at the 32. So a nice run by Russell Lou. Somers will start 1st and 10 from the 32-yard line. The quarterback is Kevin Halloran, a junior. Russell Lou, the fullback. Hal Eaton starting at left halfback today. Anthony Chaka is the right halfback. Tight end will be Tom Gorman. Right tackle John Sullivan going 6'4" and 218. The right guard Ed Stola. Center Steve Borgelt, left guard Pete Pappas, at left tackle George Burns, and the split end John Giordina as we have 1st and 10, first play of the game. Somers operating from their own 32-yard line as they move left to right. Here's the handoff to Lou. Lou tries the left side, gets a couple of yards, where he's wrapped up by Pat Burke, a defensive tackle for Kennedy. And let's set that Kennedy defense for you. The defensive ends, Don Papa, a sophomore, and Paul Casey. Defensive tackles with good size, Bill Papp at 220, and Pat Burke, who just made that stop at 210. The nose guard, Jack Harney. Middle linebacker, Rob Donahue. The outside linebackers, John Dunphy and Phil Capra. Defensive halfbacks, Mike Weir and Matt Lundy. And Mike Hauge is the safety. Here's the 2nd down and 8. And once again, it's Russell Lou carrying the football. And Lou gets it up close to the 35-yard line, perhaps across the 35. Check if that was Hal Eaton carrying the ball. So it brings up the first third down play. Looks to be third and about 7, Phil.
I would say Somers this year has a luxury that they haven't had in a while. They number about 33, 34 in their varsity squad. So depth-wise, they feel very comfortable, which also may have something to show if he does a lot of substituting during the ball game in terms of the fourth period.
37 from the 35. Halloran back to pass. Looks over the middle. Throws. It's complete to Chayka. Chayka has the first down up at the 50-yard line. Check it. It was Russell Liu, number 22, on that reception. As we'll get it right eventually here. But nevertheless, the first down, the first one of the football game for Somers. And they've got the first down, and flat ball resting squarely on the 50-yard line.
Defensively, Kennedy is running out of a 5 front, primarily a 5-2, but we'll show a 5-3, and we will probably see them stay in that defense most of the day.
Here is the straight-ahead handoff, and it goes to Chayka, the fullback. And Chayka pushed back hard for a loss back to the 45-yard line. We'll see where they mark his forward progress. As there was definitely a loss. We'll call it a loss of 2 back to the 48. So 2nd and 12 coming up now for Somers.
Somers running out of what looks like a T formation, although they're showing at least one wide out every formation.
2nd and 12 from the 48-yard line. Excuse me. Halloran back to pass, looks over the middle, throws, and it's complete to the tight end, Tom Gorman, a big target, 6'1", 211. Gorman is stopped on the play by Mike Weir, defensive halfback, but Gorman gets about 10 of those 12 yards back, and Somers now will look at a 3rd and 2 from the 42-yard line of JFK. Somers dressed in gray football pants, white jerseys, red numerals with silver helmets, or gray helmets. Kennedy dressed in the white pants, blue jerseys, white numerals, and blue helmets. On a 3rd and 2, here is the handoff, and it goes to Eaton. Eaton looking for first down yardage, and he has it across the 40 down to the 38-yard line of Kennedy. So Somers with its 2nd first down on this drive. We played 2.5 minutes, no score. Somers has taken the opening kickoff, and they've got their 2nd first down in this drive.
Gorman on that previous play did a great job of getting down into a seam and just finding that open space. And when you are 6'1", 6'2", and you've got some size in terms of somebody picking you out as a fine target, he did a great job of getting in the open.
All right, Somers now right in front of our VIP van with a 1st and 10 at the 38-yard line. This is Liu, the fullback. Liu driving hard, has it down to the 35, where he's pushed back hard by a host of blue-shirted Kennedy Gales. Leading the charge once again, Pat Burke, the defensive tackle. And they ruled that Liu made forward progress down to the 35, so a gain of 3, 2nd and 7 coming up. Tim Malsbury with us here on top of the van. And, Tim, it looks like Somers just taking it right to Kennedy here at the start.
Absolutely, Rich. Thank you very much. It's nice to just join you. This Liu kid likes to go up the middle, Rich, and when he meets people the other way, he goes head first, and he keeps on his legs moving. That's very important.
Here is the 2nd down play, and it goes to Anthony Chayka. Chayka almost breaks it. A saving tackle by Mike Hauge, rather. But Anthony Chayka, who is a fine running back, he's got one of about 75 yards this year. He has another first down for Somers down to the 23 of Kennedy. So the Somers Tuskers moving the football very, very well here in their opening series. Their 3rd first down. 1st and 10 Somers at the Kennedy 23. As the Tuskers back up to the line of scrimmage. Here's the play-action pass, and it's complete to Chayka. Chayka tries to get away over there at the 20-yard line, but he can't quite escape the grasp of Don Dunphy, one of the Kennedy co-captains, outside linebacker. And Chayka has a short gain down to the 20. We'll call it a gain of 3, 2nd and 7 coming up.
Somers offensively running out of a wing T type of formation. That time put Chayka in motion and tried to throw a flare pass out in the flat. And if he didn't slip, he might have picked up some better yardage.
7:55 to go first quarter, no score. Somers on the move with a 2nd and 7 at the 20. Here's a nice counterplay to Chayka. Chayka breaking tackle. Chayka has it down inside the 15 to about the 13-yard line.
Rich, I like what I see so far of Fox Lane, of Somers so far here at Kennedy. And very diversified offense, going to a couple flare-out passes. As you just mentioned, a counterplay, a couple times right up the middle. But Coach Goodnight is showing John F. Kennedy a little bit of everything, and he's establishing an offense very early here in the contest.
And we have our first measurement of the afternoon coming up, close to a first down. Phil, we had a good angle on that counterplay, and it was very nicely executed, as Tim said.
Right, that's what we call a 21 trap, and it's a great play off of the wing tee. In fact, if you have a great wing back, it can be your bread and butter play. Briarcliff did a great job with that last week against Irvington. They just tore us up. They've got a kid, Darrell Webb, who is a senior, who's outstanding, and he came back against the grain just like you saw this one. And I tell you, if your defensive men don't hold their positions, it'll hurt you.
Third down play. Here's the handoff to Eaton. Eaton has the first down inside the 10 down to about the 6-yard line. They were short of the first down on the measurement, but picked it up with no problem at all. And now Somers in business. Our first real serious scoring threat of the afternoon. First and goal for Somers. They put it down on the 7-yard line.
I think also the variety that we're seeing, that Tim mentioned, also makes it a lot of fun for kids to play. They enjoy that type of razzle-dazzle type of football. He also has some good personnel to pull it off, and execution is a key.
First and goal for Somers at the Kennedy 7-yard line. Halloran will give to Eaton. Eaton off the right side. Eaton inside the 5 down to the 3-yard line. As he was stopped on the play once again by Mike Hauge, who is certainly a valuable performer for head coach Bob Middlestat. Quarterback on offense, safety on defense, and he also does the kicking.
Very crucial set of downs for both teams right here, Rich. If Somers can go in and score, they can establish their offense automatically. And if Kennedy stops them right here, as they had some good defense last week, they can establish themselves defensively and try to get the ball back and maybe put some points on the board. Kennedy will drop into their 6-5 goal line defense, as you'll see here, going across the front.
Second and goal. Here's Russell Lew. Lew is in there. Touchdown, Somers. Russell Lew with a 4-yard run on second and goal. It comes with 6:10 to go first quarter. Somers leads it 6-0.
Nothing fancy there, just a handoff off the right side, running behind the right guard and the right tackle, and took it over on that right side behind some people. I guess he has confidence in both actually both points all handed. Nice idea because Somers drew that time.
Okay, so it looks like Dan McCarron is on for the one-point conversion. Russell Lew, who just scored the touchdown, will hold. As they line up all the way to the right side, now come back over towards the middle of the field. As we wait for the snap, the teams are lined up and set the ball. The snap plays down. The kick is up, and it is good, but a flag is down. We'll wait right here, and we might have had some offsides now. Let's wait and see. McCarron drilled it right on out of here, but we'll wait now for the penalty.
Rich, so far this year, some of the teams that we've seen, I've been impressed with some of these high school kickers. Of course, we know the kid from Fox Lane, Silcott, has got a very strong foot on him. We've seen him kick, from about 50 yards out, at least attempt from 50 yards out, and we've seen him successful from about 45. Here also today with Somers seems to have a very fine kicker, too. Well, we'll see how good he is right now, because he's going to go from 35 yards right now, so by where that ball's going to be placed down, so we'll see how effective he is from this distance. But,
that was a 15-yard penalty against Somers. Must have been some holding. So now the extra point kick comes to the 25-yard line, so a 35-yard boot. Here's the snap, ball placed down, kick is blocked and no good. So that might be a big play later. Head coach Rich Canida on the near sideline, not too pleased. They had the 7th point, but it was called back on a penalty, and then they mixed the second try. So as they come back up the field with 6:10 to go, first quarter, the score remains Somers 6, JFK nothing.
If you're selling your house, be sure to talk to the folks at Plaza Weichert Realtors in Mount Kisco. Nobody sells more real estate in the metropolitan area than Weichert. The statistics are impressive. And at Plaza Weichert Realtors, they know your house represents one of the largest single investments you're ever likely to make. They are proud to represent one of the most distinctive and diversified communities in America. So if you are selling or buying your home in Mount Kisco, call on the professionals at Plaza Weichert Realtors at 241-3500. That's 241-3500. Plaza Weichert Realtors deliver for you.
Okay, Somers has drawn first blood here as these two local schools battling for the Patrick Ryan Memorial Trophy. Dan McCarron has it teed up on the 40-yard line, and here's his kick, end over end, straight down the middle of the field. Well, Phil Capper has it at the 10, 15, 20, to the right side, and that's all she wrote. At the 20-yard line, great coverage downfield as Dave Messing led the charge, along with 24, Steve Wilkinson, and also 32, Tom Mascio. Downfield very fast. Phil, they came out of nowhere. As Capper tried to turn that corner, he was just buried.
Well, I tell you, Kennedy did a very poor job of blocking on that particular kickoff, and you're not going to get anybody loose unless you hit some people, and they certainly didn't hit anybody, and the Tuskers took advantage of it.
First and 10 for Kennedy at the 22. We'll pick up the starters for you. Mount Mike Hagee will give straight ahead this time, and it goes to Capra. And Capra not too much doing. Short gain on the play. As we said, starting quarterback for Kennedy, Mike Hauge. The fullback is Paul Casey, left halfback Phil Capra, right halfback Tim Corcoran. The left end, Matt Lundy, the right end, John Dunphy. The tackles are Pat Burke and Gene O'Shea. The guards, Mike Brophy and Peter Costa. And the center, Rob Donahue.
Delaware wing being run, but they were so high.
Second and 9 from the 23-yard line. Here's a pitch out to Capra. Capra looking for running room. Flag goes down. He's brought down at the line of scrimmage. And I think we might have a holding call here against JFK as Capra tried to get out of the way that time. Paul Casey going to be called for the hold as Bill Hopp, the left defensive end for Somers, in on the stop. Let's set that Somers defense for you. The defensive ends on the left side, Bill Hopp, who just made that stop, and Steve Del Duco. The tackles, John Sullivan and Scott Planholt. The linebackers, Ed Stola, Pete Pappas, and Tom Gorman and Tom Gillen in this 4-4 defense. Both defensive halfbacks, Vin LaRocca, and Paul Gaminer. The safety is Dan Webster. And Tim, it looks like we have a holding call here going against Kennedy.
Excellent pursuit on that play by Somers, as you mentioned, holding on Kenny on that play, but good pursuit by Somers. I like what we saw, of course, on the offensive drive. On defense right now, they look tough, but of course we've only seen one play.
Well, what happened there was Paul Kennedy had his block, but let his arms get away from his body. And once you do that, then that official, if he sees it or observes it, he's going to throw down a flag, and that's exactly what happened in that situation. And those are the little penalties that hurt.
15-yard walk-off brings them back now inside the 10, where it is 2nd and 22. Here's Hauge rolling out the pass, looks, throws, and it's complete. Nice grab there at the 15-yard line by 85 in blue, Matt Lundy.
Matt Lundy makes himself a very big target and very accessible out there. Across the middle pass.
As they head up to about the 18-yard line, well, it'll be 3rd now and about 13, 3rd and 12, so about a 10-yard gain on that. 3rd and 13, we'll say, from the 18-yard line. Big play for Kennedy here, looking to pick up their first down. Hauge in the shotgun, back to pass, looks, throws, and it's incomplete. Almost intercepted by Paul Gaminer, as he was the closest man to the ball. He had a leap for it, but it was off his fingertips, so it goes as an incompleted pass. It stops the clock with 4:36 to go here, first quarter. Somers, scoring on their first possession, leads it 6-0.
So far now we have seen 3 offensive formations by Kennedy. We have seen the wing T, we've seen the I, and we've seen the shotgun. And that may set the tempo for the afternoon.
Okay, here's the Kennedy Gales punting. Has Hauge, beautiful kick. It's going to be taken by Gaminer at the 40, 45, 50. Down to about the 42-yard line, so a nice run back. And that was a beautiful punt by Kennedy's Mike Hauge. That ball traveled about 60 yards in the air.
Considering the distance of the punt and the height, Kennedy didn't do as good a job in containing. I thought the gentleman running that back did a great job of getting the type of yardage.
And we didn't see, but on the near sideline, a flag was thrown.
That's why he got so much yardage.
Okay.
Rich, I guess Coach Middlestat was right, and I think we're going to be talking about this Hauge kid quite a bit this afternoon, saying he's the best athlete I have on the field. So I guess we're going to see quite a bit of him today, and I'm sure we'll be chatting about him and noticing him quite a bit.
All right, it was a clipping call against the Somers Tuskers, so that pushed them back. They had field position down near the Kennedy 40. Now they'll start this drive from their own 37-yard line, already leading in the game 6-0. All right, Halloran has them up on this 1st and 10 at the 38. He gives it straight ahead to Russell Lew, the fullback. Lew fumbles the football. Big pileup, and I think, let's see, Kennedy has it. So the first turnover of the afternoon belongs to the Kennedy Gales as number 51, Robert Donahue, the middle linebacker, came away with the football. So the homecoming crowd here at JFK has been thrilled by that turn of events, as Kennedy now with excellent field position. And again, Richie Ganitta with his hands on hips looking down. He's seen his team make 2 mistakes here, actually 3 in the early going, which you really can't afford to do. Kennedy now with the good field position, 1st and 10 at the Somers 43 as they move from right to left. As the man in motion, here is the pitch out, and it goes to Corcoran. Another flag goes down as Corcoran turns the corner on the right side, gets it down close to the 40-yard line. And let's check out the flag, as we've had numerous penalties here in this first quarter, which has 3:47 to go.
Rich, a very physical game so far. These two teams are very psyched. Contact, I'm sure they've been working all week long, and we know it is a rival, and it's going to be definitely an exciting game.
And let's check out the call right here as they are talking to the Somers co-captain, Tom Gorman.
I'm pretty sure it was holding on number 75, Gino Shea.
Okay. Phil DeRocco, of course, former football coach down at Irvington. Correct, Philip?
Yeah, in fact, a couple of our people are out here. One of the assistant coaches for Kennedy is Ronnie Stover, who I coached when he was in football and was a great lineman for us. And I coached against Bobby Middlestat in two sports, football and in baseball. And that's one of the reasons that they have the wing T in, because Bobby is a protege of Pete Kuracek and Dick Rote down at Pleasantville. And he knew that that offense would be something for a small school. But they're also using a lot of eye, because one of the adjustments they've had to make so far is to utilize more than one formation.
First and 25. Here's a shotgun. And another flag goes down. And I think we're going to have another penalty here, an offside play against JFK.
85 jumped the gun.
Matt Lundy, the left end, jumped the gun just a bit. So both teams being hurt by penalties. Kennedy had a first and 25 from their own 38. Now making a first and 30 from their own 33. They have to get all the way down to the 33-yard line of Somers to pick up the first.
The rest of this officiating crew, by the way, is, as we said, Tony Sabella's the referee. Len Winsky is the head linesman. Bob Sutherland on the other side is the field judge, and the umpire is Dick Paula.
Okay. As we have another penalty on the play, and we go now first and 33, and I believe we have a timeout on the field. So timeout, 3:36 to go first quarter. With the timeout to score, Somers 6, Kennedy nothing.
After the game today, head on over to Chuck's Steakhouse in Bedford Hills. They are ready for you with the finest in prime ribs, steaks, top sirloin, New York strip steaks, and steak teriyaki, plus generous fish dishes and even whole lobsters. And don't forget Chuck's sumptuous salad bar, the first and still the best around. Enjoy the comfortable atmosphere, friendly service, and great food and drink of Chuck's Steakhouse, 728 North Bedford Road, Route 117 in Bedford Hills. Call ahead if you wish at 241-1826. That's 241-1826. Chuck's Steakhouse after the game today or any day, you will love it.
When you go to Chuck, say hello to BJ.
BJ, is that a buddy of yours over there?
No, it's a girl bartender.
The girl bartender.
That's right.
I'm surprised Tim Malsbury doesn't know it.
Absolutely. We'll go over there, Rich. We're still waiting for that meal from Chuck's, as we mention every week. I think it's due pretty soon.
Okay.
One of my neighbors does a great job.
All right, here's the first and 30. Here's another high snap on the shotgun. Hauge throws over to the right side. Man is there, but it's incomplete. As he intended for Tim Corcoran. Nice coverage on the play by 14 in white. Vinny LaRocca, the defensive halfback for the Somers Tuskers.
Rich, offensively, they haven't been able to put a lot of points on the board in the last ball games of the 5. We know John F. Kennedy only has one win so far. Today, it's not going to be much easier without the running back Mark Lackas, who last week, unfortunately, broke his foot in the Barham Hills game, which was the first victory for John F. Kennedy, 7-0. So they're coming off a win, too, Rich, the first one of the year. So they've got to be a little pumped up today also, and being homecoming.
Second and 30. Here's Hauge trying to run out of there. Hauge has it up to about the 35, 36-yard line, but that's about it. As leading the defensive charge that time, Steve Del Duco, the right defensive end for the Somers Tuskers. And that ball now resting squarely on the 35-yard line, so it'll be third and long yardage. Third and about 25 to go here for the Kennedy Gales. And we'll look to see if they put it up in the air here, or if not, they'll have to punt it away once again.
Somers is very, very tough and well-disciplined on defense. And I think you've got to take advantage of what they're giving you. And right now, I don't think they're giving you the long pass. I think if Kennedy's going to go the air at all, I think they've got to go to the flats and the screens and short.
Hauge back to pass, looks, throws over the middle, and it's going to be incomplete. Almost a great diving catch there by 85 Matt Lundy. The ball was actually intended at time for number 30, Tim Corcoran. It was off his fingertips as he was covered pretty well. So it goes as an incompleted pass, fourth and long yardage. It'll bring up a punting situation now for Kennedy. And we were very impressed with that first punt by Mike Hauge. As Somers sending two men back, Paul Gaminer. And looks like Russell Lou back there. Here's this one, end over end. Gaminer runs up to get it, fumbles the football. Better fall on it. That's what he does at the 35-yard line. Richie Gaminer once again holding his breath. As that's always a tough play, Phil, when the young man comes running up, trying to catch it like the center fielder looking to throw somebody out at the plate. And more times than not, you do see the fumble, but he did the smart thing, fall on it.
Well, what happens is that sometimes, first of all, that punt didn't have much height to it, so it was really a great punt for an offensive man to take advantage of. But sometimes you're dealing with the sun. That's not the case right now. It's kind of overcast. But if you don't know how to run on the balls of your feet, Just like that center fielder, your eyes are going up and down. And a football is no different, and what happens is you end up fumbling it.
First and 10, Somers at their own 38-yard line. Halloran will give straight ahead to Russell Lou, the fullback, and Lou not too much doing. Gets it up to to about the 40, perhaps just over the 40 to the 41. We'll give him a gain of a couple. We'll say 2nd and 8 coming up. 2nd and 7 actually looks a little bit better. So 2nd and 7 for Somers as we're in the final 2 minutes here of this first period.
Russell Lou so far has impressed me, Rich. I like the way he can go around the side with some speed. And I'll tell you what, if you send him up the middle, he's like a bull, and he always keeps his feet running. He gives you a darn good second effort.
2nd and 7 at the 42. Here's with that counter again, and it goes to Chayka. Chayka, one man to beat. He's just tripped up at the 45 as making a saving tackle that time. Number 50, Jack Harney, the nose guard. As this Anthony Chayka, boy, once he gets going, he's got some good speed. He almost broke that one for a long, long gain.
Well, the Kennedy defense is not staying in their positions, and they're being taken back by the fakes off of the wing T, which they shouldn't because they run that similar type of offense. And when you're going away from the action, you've just got to learn to remain there.
1st and 10 for Somers at the Kennedy 47-yard line. They're on the move again. Here's Halloran, back to pass, looks and throws. It's complete to Chayka. Chayka breaks a tackle at the 40, still going. It takes 3 men to bring that young guy down. Finally doing the job was Mike Weir, defensive halfback, as that ball almost looked like it slipped out of the hands of Halloran, but the bottom line is he got it there. And it looks to be about a 6-yard gain down here to the Kennedy 40. So we'll say 2nd and 4 for Somers at the Kennedy 40-yard line. Under a minute to go here first
I
quarter.
think what happened, he didn't feel like he had a good grip. Chayka did a nice job of sneaking out of the backfield and then coming across the grain.
Here is Russell Lou, and Lou not too much doing this time as they went 2nd and 4 from the 40. And once again in there on the stop, Jack Harney, the nose guard for Kennedy. So it'll bring up a 3rd down play as we are under 30 seconds to go here first quarter on homecoming day. As it's the 3rd down play coming up right here. Mr. Robert Douglas, the Section 1 sports coordinator on hand.
Right, working around with the Somers assistant high school principal, Mr. John Bellantoni.
Okay, and I believe that the first quarter has come to an end. So our score after 1 period of play here at our VIP Cable 12 Game of the Week, Somers 6, JFK nothing.
Get the ugly out of your car with Z-Bart's VIP Car Care Maintenance Program. Z-Bart washes, waxes, and polishes the exterior, vacuums and shampoos the interior, degreases the engine, even power vacuums the trunk. Z-Bart's VIP Car Care Program is specially priced right now for just $129. You'll save over $60. Z-Bart also has caps for pickup trucks and protective liners for your pickup truck bed. Z-Bart at 2 locations, North Broadway in White Plains and Green Lane across from the ShopRite entrance in Bedford Hills. Remember Z-Bart, because nobody hates ugly more than Z-Bart.
All right, as we start the second period, it'll be 3rd and 4 for Somers as they now move from right to left in the silver pants, white jerseys, red numerals, and silver helmets. Kennedy defending the scoreboard end of the field, or the goal to our left in the white pants, blue jerseys, and blue helmets. It's a 3rd and 4 at the 36-yard line or so of JFK. Somers with the football, leading 6-0 as one of the men jumps off. And we'll see if he was drawn off, but if not, that should give Somers a first down. The Somers kids are clapping, so apparently number 83 for the Kennedy Gales, the defensive end, jumped offside that time.
Rich, we've seen a lot of penalties, as you've mentioned so far. The yellow flag, every time we look, it's on the field. You'd think some of these ball players would have gotten the anxiety out in the first quarter, but I guess not, because that was the first play of the second quarter, and we had a flag already, and the clock hasn't even moved.
Okay, 1st and 10, Somers, as they get it the easy way. 1st and 10 for the Tuskers at the 35-yard line.
Too many penalties. There is anxiety there, but they have to learn to channel that, Tim.
1st and 10 at the 35-yard line as Halloran has him up. He is going to give to Russell Lou. And Lou off the left side, a couple of yards, perhaps down to about the 33-yard line, where it'll be 2nd and 8 coming now for Somers. In there on the stop for the Kennedy Gales, 51, Robert Donahue, the middle linebacker. On this beautiful day in late October here, homecoming at John F. Kennedy High School in Somers, as these two neighboring schools battling for the Patrick V. Ryan Memorial Trophy, as they do every year when they meet in football. 2nd and 8 for Somers at the 35-yard line of Kennedy. Eaton is in motion. Here's some play action. Halloran rolling out, looking at pass, breaks one tackle, cocks his arm, throws, and incomplete, but it's going to be interference. Interference against Kennedy. As the intended receiver that time, Tom Gorman was definitely bumped before the ball arrived. And it looks like we'll have pass interference going against the Kennedy Gales. And that'll be a 15-yard penalty, Phil.
No doubt about that call. Both officials that were on that play, Winsky and Sutherland, both called out immediately. And as we could see it from here, it was the call. He was bumped prior to the ball receiving, prior to the ball getting to the receiver.
Okay.
Unfortunate penalty on their end because the nose guard, Jack Harney, number 50 for John F. Kennedy, Rich, did an excellent job in pursuing down the Fox Lane quarterback. The Somers quarterback. I'm definitely having trouble here today, still thinking we're at the Fox Lane campus.
Well, certainly no problem there because we have seen Fox Lane 5 weeks out of 7 or so.
And they are red and white.
And same color, so don't worry about it.
Appreciate that, Phil.
You are a Fox Lane graduate, so we can certainly excuse you for the next 3 or 4 times. Then we might get on your case just a bit. But nevertheless, a 15-yard walk-off against Kennedy, which certainly is not such good news for them. The ball now inside the 20 at about the 19, where Somers has a 1st and 10. They already leading the game 6-0 on a 4-yard run by Russell Lou about midway through the first period. All right, 1st and 10 for Somers at the 19-yard line of Kennedy. Here is Halloran, and he will give to Eaton. Eaton off the right side, breaking tackles. Eaton still going down close to the 10-yard line. Hal Eaton, number 40 in white. And he's running out of the left halfback position. They have 3 fine running backs in Russell Lou, Hal Eaton, and Anthony Jacob. And this Somers team looking to get some more points on the board.
I'm very impressed with them offensively and defensively. They're just doing a great job, and they're controlling the clock. And that's something that you always want to do, because if you can do that, then what you're doing is you're taking away time from the other team, and that's very, very important.
2nd and 5 from the 10. And here is Chaka. Chaka off the left side. Chaka very close to the goal line, not quite in there. Anthony Chaka with some good deception, breaking tackles as a big cloud of dust goes up there in front of the goal post. Of course, we've had very little rain, and this field is very, very dry.
That looked like an inside reverse there, Rich. I believe they did hand it off to a halfback going to the right, and he handed it off to Chaka on the inside, coming counterplay.
And it's a 1st and goal coming for Somers. The ball is on the 4-yard line of Kennedy. So the Somers Tuskers looking to increase their 6-0 lead right here. 1st and goal from the 4. Halloran has him up as he looks over the defense. He is going to give it to Russell Lou. Lou off the right side, and let's see. As they operate away from us, apparently he did not quite get it in. Russell Lou carries from the 5 down to about the 2-yard line, it appears. And it'll be 2nd and goal for Somers from the 2.
Coach Knight is showing a lot of confidence in his offensive line when he gets down around that goal, because he seems to just take his running back and said, nothing fancy, let's go right up the middle and at him, because I think they can plow some holes.
He can afford to do that. He's got some good people there.
2nd and goal for Somers from the 2-yard line. Here is Lou. Lou is in there. Touchdown, Somers. Russell Lou with his 2nd touchdown of the day. This one is a 2-yard run. It comes with 9:52 to go. 2nd quarter. Somers leads it now 12-0.
As a dive play off the right side, running up and behind his right guard and between the center, and was not even tackled. So right now, the blocking of the offensive line of Somers is really taking it to the Gales, and they're controlling the line of scrimmage, and that usually determines execution and the points on the board.
He had a good one earlier, called back on a penalty. Here's the snap, here's the kick, up in the air, and it is good. It is good. Dan McCarron has added the 13th point for Somers, and as they come back up the field with 9:52 to go 2nd quarter, the score, Somers 13 and JFK nothing.
If you are selling your house, be sure to talk to the folks at Plaza Weichert Realtors in Mount Kisco. Nobody sells more real estate in the metropolitan area than Weichert. The statistics are very impressive. And at Plaza Weichert Realtors, they know your house represents one of the largest single investments you are ever likely to make. They are proud to represent one of the most and the finest and distinctive and yet diversified communities in America. So if you're selling or buying your home in Mount Kisco, call on the professionals at Plaza Weichert Realtors at 241-3500. That's 241-3500. Plaza Weichert Realtors deliver for you.
Okay, Somers on top here, 13-0. McCarron has it teed up on the 40-yard line as he will kick off for the 2nd time. Here's Tony Sabella's whistle, and we're all set to go. Here's the kick, and he boots it. It's going over here to the near sideline where it's fumbled by Glenn Wagner. And he's going to try to run it out of there now. It's number 20, Phil Capra. Capra had all kinds of trouble down near the 10-yard line, and he is ushered out of bounds over there. So Kennedy will start at a hole, 1st and 10 at their own 10. Now, Phil DeRocco, once that ball goes into the end zone, I guess now there's a technicality there. If the momentum takes it in, even though the boy touches it, I guess he could have just fallen on it for a touchback, correct?
Right, never take it out to the 20.
I believe that's called a muff, right?
Right, there's
As
a
opposed to a
there's no
fumble?
control, right. It's got to have control in order for it to, be so-called grounded or touch down if that were the case.
I'm sure Glenn Wagner's not too happy with himself on that kickoff there. The ball was going over his head, and he tried to get his hands on it. It was almost like a pass going over his head. And as you mentioned, Rich, it rolled down to about the 2-yard line, and he had to pick it up. He didn't even have the opportunity to pick it up. One of his other players did and ran and got it up to about, I think, the 15-yard line.
And more problems for the Kennedy Gales. We didn't see the flag thrown, but apparently there was a personal foul on that run back. So Kennedy now all the way back at their own 5-yard line, and they're going to have to bring it out of here against this tough Somers defense. You know, the Somers defense is going to be licking their chops right here. Here's Hauke looking to throw out of there, and he throws it complete. And a nice grab in a crowd by Matt Lundy. And Lundy able to run out to about the 10 or 15-yard line. And he got close to first down yardage, perhaps just a little bit short. So a gutsy call, but a nice completion that time as Kennedy with a little breathing room up to the 19, where it'll be now 2nd and about 1.
It is a little gutsy, but they're going to have to do the unusual right now because they've got their backs to the wall early in the game.
Here's Hauke back to pass again, looks, throws, and oh, this one is incomplete. Chris Fuller should have had that football. Hit him right in the numbers. Maybe he heard footsteps, Phil, or, of course, maybe he was just trying to run just a little bit too soon. How many times have we seen that?
I got that impression, Rich. He was trying to go before he caught the ball. And one thing that an end or any pass receiver learns is that the depth has helped him. He's had competition for the first time within the ranks that he hasn't been able to have the last 2 or 3 years.
Here's Tony Chaka carrying on a 1st and 10 from the Kennedy 40-yard line. And Chaka looks to have it down to the 35 for a 5-yard gain, so it'll be 2nd and 5 coming up for Somers as they lead here 13-0. We are just about 8 minutes to go. Here's 2nd quarter at halftime today. We'll be talking to Jim Capalbo, the head coach at John Jay, coming off a very nice victory over Brewster last evening. All right, here is Halloran. There's that reverse play again. It goes to Eaton. There was an interesting wrinkle, Phil, as they gain about 5 on it, as Halloran handed off to Chaka, who then handed off to Eaton. What do you call that? A kind of reverse counter almost.
Yep, and they obviously will do some of those things off of this formation because they've shown that already today. And they've got a nice little cushion to work with, so they can start to pull out some of those things.
All right, it brings up about a 3rd and 2. Here's Eaton off the right side. Eaton has the first down and more, puts his head down. Eaton still driving. Has it down close to the 25-yard line of Kennedy. Hal Eaton, number 40 in the white jersey. Another first down, Somers. As Somers seems to be moving almost at will here against this Kennedy defense. As the Somers Tuskers leading here 13-0. And they're moving very well once again, Tim.
It's unfortunate, but I'm starting to sense a blowout. Fox Lane and John F. Kennedy here. Somers is moving the ball very well up and down this field. And as Phil mentioned, they're starting to control this ball game.
1st and 10 at the 22-yard line. Here is, let's see now, Russell Liu, I guess, carrying the football. A big cloud of dust again goes up. They go 1st and 10 from the 20. And it'll be a gain of about 4. So 2nd and 6 coming, we'll say, from the 16-yard line.
There's that trap play up again. They've run that now 3 or 4 times. And that was the first time that Kennedy did a good job against it defensively. But as we mentioned earlier, it's the line of scrimmage that's being controlled, and that therein lies the story of the strength that Somers has.
Okay, 2nd down from the 20-yard line. Halloran back to pass, looks downfield, throws. Man, it's all alone. It's complete. It's grabbed by number 81, Jim Giardina. Giardina has it inside the 10, down about the 8-yard line, where it'll be 1st and goal for Somers. It's funny, Tim, as you made that last comment, I had the exact same feeling looking at the scoreboard, hoping that we would not have ourselves in a blowout situation here, but I think if Somers punches this one in, it's going to be a long afternoon for the Kennedy Gales.
Good point, Rich. And they have John F. Kennedy they lost to Beacon 27-0, Poughkeepsie 42-12, and Panis 35-8. So they've had a lot of points scored on them early in the season.
1st and goal for Somers at the Kennedy 9-yard line, and Rich Ganida does not like what he sees on the offensive front. Calls for a timeout. and he's got 2 left. So a timeout on the field, 5:59 to go here, second quarter. With the timeout to score, Somers 13, Kennedy nothing.
After the game today, head on over to Chuck's Steakhouse in Bedford Hills. They are ready for you with the finest in prime ribs, steaks, top sirloin, New York strip steaks, and steak teriyaki, plus generous fish dishes and even whole lobsters. And don't forget Chuck's sumptuous salad bar, the first and still the best around. Enjoy the comfortable atmosphere, friendly service, and great food and drink of Chuck's Steakhouse, 728 North Bedford Road, Route 117 in Bedford Hills. Call ahead if you wish at 241-1826. That's 241-1826. Chuck's Steakhouse after the game today or any day. You will love it.
All right, when we resume following the timeout, Somers looking at a first and goal from the 9. They lead 13-0. And just a quick reminder to join us tonight at 5:30 here on 1310 WVIP for Westchester County's first and the most complete rundown of high school and college football on the VIP scoreboard at 5:30 this afternoon, as we are with you every week. And we certainly hope you make it a habit to join us. If you want to get those high school scores before tomorrow morning's paper comes out, well, VIP 1310 is the only place you can get them. All right, here we go. Set to resume. First and 10 at the 9. Somers with the football and a 13-point lead. Here is the quarterback rolling out to his right, puts his head down, and he's very close. And he's in there for a touchdown. Kevin Halloran on the rollout, a 9-yard run. And Somers now leads it 19-0. The touchdown coming with 5:52 to go second quarter. Kevin Halloran, the junior quarterback, has the 6 points for Somers. And they lead it, as I said, 19-0.
Well, he just kept that ball and just took it around the right end, and because they have such a multi-dimensional attack, Somers really could have given it to, I think, anybody in that backfield and came out the same way. But with the quarterback keeping it, he went in there relatively untouched until he got near the goal line.
All right, there, McCarron is in for the kick, looking to add the 20th point for Somers. Ball is snapped, plays down, kick is up, and it is good. McCarron has his second extra point, coming after Somers' third touchdown, and with 5:52 to go second quarter, the score now, Somers 20 and Kennedy nothing.
No matter how much you spend for a new car, the world is going to make it ugly. So bring your car to Z-Bart, because nobody hates ugly more than Z-Bart. Rust-proofing is just the beginning of Z-Bart's complete program to protect your car from all the things that can make it ugly. Bring your new car to Z-Bart now for their total protection package. Z-Bart at 660 North Broadway in White Plains and 142 Green Lane across from the ShopRite Shopping Center entrance in Bedford Hills. Call 948-4664 or 666-3488.
Well, Tim, of course, we mentioned that Jim Capalbo on hand here. They played last night. One of his assistants, Mike Rep. They, of course, have Somers next Saturday, and I think they're going to be in for one tough battle next week, Somers, John Jay.
Rich, I'm glad you brought that up because I know John F. Kennedy has to face John Jay yet. I'd like to see that game, Somers and John Jay match up. These are two very well-disciplined ball teams with a lot of artillery on offense.
Well, you will see it because we'll be there next Saturday, and that'll be our VIP game of the week as McCarron's kickoff is taken by 32 in blue Kevin Shield. And Shield takes it from his own 5 up to about the 30-yard line, where Kennedy will put it in play first and 10 at the 30-yard line as the Kennedy Gales look to get something going here before halftime. We have 5:41 to go. At halftime today, as we said, we'll be talking to Jim Capalbo of John Jay. Also, there'll be some festivities here at the Kennedy High School field on this homecoming afternoon.
5.5 minutes is a lot of time. And if Kennedy could get some points on the board, then I think they would feel good going into halftime, only 2 touchdowns down. But if they don't, going in at 20-0 at halftime, they're going to have to do some really toughening up.
As on first down, they give it to Don Papa, sophomore. And Papa takes it from the 20 to about the 23-yard line. So we'll say 2nd and 7 coming up right here. Kennedy, as they move from left to right, looking at a 2nd and 7. As Hauge once again gives to one of his running backs. This time it's Casey. And nothing too much doing that time. Check it. It was number 30 in blue, Tim Corcoran, the right halfback. And it'll bring up a third down play, 3rd and about 5, as, well, let's say 3rd and about 7. As they're on the 33-yard line, they have to get it up to about the 40 for the first. So 3rd and 7 for Kennedy. And here again, a big play for them.
There've been a lot of big plays for him this half, though.
As they would like to keep their hands on the ball. Here's Hauke back to pass. Looks quickly over the middle, and it is intercepted. Intercepted by Pete McCulloch. And he is going to run down to the 35-yard line. Check it, Pete Milhock, number 30 on the reception as it was tipped. There's the old tip drill, Philip. And Somers once again in business with a 1st and 10 in Kennedy territory. And nothing going right here for the Kennedy Gales. And they say it rains, it pours.
Defensive back did a great job on that play. He knew that he could not get to the ball through the offensive receiver, so he did the next best thing, which was to wrap his arm around in front and deflect it, and fortunately one of his other men picked it off.
1st and 10 at the 30-yard line. Somers with the ball again. Here's the inside handoff and a fumble. And let's see, I believe one of the Somers linemen fell on that ball as the handoff never really completed. Let's see who the young man was who was opportunistic that time, falling on the football. And it was number 75, I believe, walking away.
George Burns.
George Burns, the left offensive tackle. I knew Mr. Burns was talented and didn't realize he played high school football in his office.
I knew that was going to come up somewhere along the day.
Right. Somebody had to bring it up and figured it would be me, all right? And that other comment I made about it when it rains, it pours, I just made that up a few minutes ago. Never heard that before, right?
He's full of puns today.
Okay, there'll be a lot more coming as this game gets more and more out of hand, I hate to say, but nevertheless, we're going to have the 4-minute warning right now. And I think for the first time all season, Tim, we're seeing the 4-minute warning come at a time when both teams are in their huddles. Usually it comes when the play is just about to be gotten off.
And it's unfortunate because we saw it first thing in the season. Fox Lane against John Jay, and athletic director from John Jay Lions had mentioned it to us that it's something that they should really set down a rule there, not have it in the middle of play, because it's unfortunate. John Jay lost some points on that one.
2nd and 10 from the 30 as Russell Liu takes the handoff from Halloran. And nothing too much doing there. Good defensive pursuit by Kennedy's number 51, Robert Donahue, the middle linebacker. One of the few times this afternoon that Somers has lost yardage as they push him back from the 30 to about the 33. We'll say 3rd and 13 coming up right now for Somers. Clock is moving. It shows 3:24 to go, 2nd quarter. And Somers comfortably on top right here, 20-0. Halloran calls the signals on this 3rd down play. He's going to go back to pass, roll out, in trouble, tries to get away. He does, still moving, now throws, and it's incomplete. As it was intended at the 30-yard line that time for number 82, Steve Del Duco, who's seeing a little work on offense now, usually the right defensive end. And good coverage that time by 51, Robert Donahue, again, that middle linebacker, who's playing a very fine game for Kennedy. 51 in blue, Robert Donahue.
The thing about John F. Kennedy, too, and we see it with some high school teams, it's fortunate when it doesn't happen too often, Rich, and that is John F. Kennedy has a lot of guys, about 7, that go both ways. You get into the 3rd or 4th quarter, a lot of these kids are exhausted.
Well, by this point in the season, you would think they're in shape, but it still is a lot of work for a young kid, 15, 16-year-old boy, and it is hot. Here's Halloran rolling out. He's in trouble. He is tipped just as he throws it. Oh, they're going to call a flag on that. I think Tony Sabella threw the flag. Perhaps a little bit of a high hit there, Phil. He really had an open shot at the quarterback. Looked to hit him high, and we'll see if that's going to be the call. If it is, I think it's a good call.
Okay, I don't know if that was the call there. I didn't know whether it was to signal that that was the spot in terms of that his arm was forward, but it seems like something else was there. I have a feeling it was holding that he spotted. I don't think you can blame a defensive man for going after. That wasn't, I think he got him in the pads, shoulder pads.
And they were talking it over with Kennedy, and they're going to call some kind of a hold or push against the Somers Tuskers. So it'll be 4th and long yardage, and that's got to be a shot in the arm for the Kennedy defense as they have held Somers here. And they'll get their hands back on the football with 3 minutes to go here, 3rd quarter. Check it, 2nd quarter, as Somers will be punting here for the first time. As number 34 in white goes back, Dan Webster will kick the football away.
I'll tell you, there was a lot
Maybe there was a fumble there as Kennedy taking some plays right off of. Now, I don't know what that was right there, Phil. It was a 3rd down play. Unless they ruled that was a fumble, that must have been it. And Kennedy recovered because there was no punt.
There's another
flag on the play. Kennedy with the football as they go 1st and 10 from the 40. Their own 40 moving left to right. And another flag has been thrown. We've had a lot of penalties. I was about to say plethora, but I figured save that for how it goes
another time. It seems like, obviously it was a fumble on that earlier one, although it didn't look like it from here. It looked like the arm was cocked forward.
Absolutely, I'd have to agree with you there. And as you mentioned, the guy coming in on that play was Hal Eaton, and he got a hold of the quarterback's arm there, and I kind of think the same thing that you are right now.
I'll have to discuss that with Mr. Sabella on Monday.
All right. We have a holding call here against Kennedy, which, of course, is the last thing they needed in this situation.
Something I want to touch back on with you, Phil, and you mentioned earlier in the game, which Coach Ganida has that he hasn't had in the past couple years, is he has competition amongst the ranks on his team. Sometimes I think that's excellent on a team if it works positively for you. And other times it creates animosity within the teammates and a little jealousy when you get too much competition for positions on one team.
Well, this is something that the coach has to really spell out, and a good coach, as we look at Somers,
All right.
Kennedy catching a ball.
If you guys don't mind, I'll just break in here for a second on a pass from Hauge to John Dunphy coming on a 1st and 25 play, as it looks like they've gained about 10 yards, so we'll say 2nd and 15 coming now from the 30-yard line.
I think in that preseason meeting, I think the coach sets the tone for that, Tim, and he lets them know, and the kid has to understand that, that's what athletics is about, is healthy competition, and the one who works harder is the one that's going to deserve that starting slot.
2nd and 15. Here's Hauge in all kinds of trouble, and he's brought back down, way back behind the line of scrimmage. And let's see if we can get the number of the young man who made that excellent defensive play, as we're trying to get him identified as he's being congratulated and wrapped up. Looks like number 60, Bill Hoff, the left defensive end. We've mentioned his name before for the Somers Tuskers. Big loss on the play back to the 20-yard line. So it's now back to 3rd and 25. It seems as though Kennedy has been facing 3rd and 20, 3rd and 25 all afternoon. Bob Middlestat decides to call a timeout to talk this one over, so a timeout on the field with 1:55 to go second quarter. With the timeout to score, Somers 20, JFK nothing.
If you're selling your house, be sure to talk to the folks at Plaza Weichert Realtors in Mount Kisco. Nobody sells more real estate in the metro area than Weichert. The statistics are impressive, and at Plaza Weichert Realtors, they know your house represents one of the largest single investments you are ever likely to make. They are proud to represent one of the finest, most distinctive, and diversified communities in America. So if you are selling or buying your home in Mount Kisco, call the professionals at Plaza Weichert Realtors at 241-3500. That's 241-3500. Plaza Weichert Realtors deliver for you.
All right, when we resume, we'll have 1:40 to go here, second quarter. Somers leading Kennedy 20-0. Kennedy looking at a 3rd and 25 from their own 20-yard line. And we'll see what head coach Bob Middlestat has called right here. As the homecoming crowd here for Kennedy, a little bit subdued right now with this big score against them. Here's Hauge back to pass. He's in trouble again, rolls away, throws a home run ball, and a man is there, and it's complete. It's complete to number 20, Phil Capra, all the way down to the 35-yard line of Somers. Well, as some of the Somers JFK kids were almost on the field there in the end zone, now they're chasing them back, getting ready for halftime here. That was the best play we've seen all day from Kennedy, as Mr. Hauge really unloaded that one to Capra. Capra had to step. So Kennedy now with a 1st and 10 there in Somers territory for the first time at the 38-yard line. Hauge back to pass on play action, looks, throws over the middle, incomplete. Intended for Dunphy at the 32 of Somers. So that'll stop the clock with 1:14 to go until halftime.
Rick, very impressed. I tell you, that kid Hoagie threw that ball a good 50 yards. I tell you, he threw a spiral 50 yards and right on the button.
Great pass and great reception, because there were actually 5 Somers defenders there and 2 Kennedy men in the area, and he came down with it. Now, this pass they just had before this was the end dragging across the middle of the field, which was a great pattern. Too bad they couldn't connect on it.
Whoop, there's that high snap again. Here's Hauge looking to pass, throws a home run ball into the end zone, well incomplete, as Tim Corcoran was the intended receiver. 3 Somers Tuskers back there defending on the play. So it goes as a long incompleted pass, and it'll bring up now a 3rd and 10 at the 37-yard line of Somers. Somers leading at 20-0 with a minute to go here until halftime.
You see Mike Hoagie from John F. Kennedy throw the ball a lot in the first half. They're down 20-0. I'm sure they're going to see a lot of passing in the second half also.
In the shotgun, Hauge back to pass, looks, throws, and it's incomplete again. This time intended for Mike Farkas, number 87 in blue. So it'll be fourth down coming.
I think
Excuse me,
they've got
fourth down coming up.
I think they've got to throw a little bit better, more under control. Right now, they're a little out of control, I think, because they're trying to pick up a lot of yardage. But I think if they go in at halftime and realize that their passing game can be effective based on what Somers is giving them defensively, they could do some things that are a little more imaginative. And they're not taking advantage of the flat or the screen.
Fourth and 10. Here's Hauge looking to throw. It's complete to Dunphy. And it all depends now on forward progress. I think he's got the first down at the 24-yard line. Make it 26. It is a first down. Clock continues to move, but they did signal timeout, at least to move the chains.
43 seconds left on the clock. If John F. Kennedy could put some points on the board, as Phil mentioned before, I'm sure head coach John F. Kennedy Middlestat would be very excited and look a little more positive towards the second half and maybe to have a couple nicer things to say to his team at halftime.
And Kennedy steps in and calls another timeout. I believe that'll be their last, as Kennedy really moving the football here for the first time all day. Set up on the long pass play from Hauge to Capra. It's covered about 40 yards. Right now, when we resume after the timeout, it'll be a first and 10 at the 26-yard line of Somers. Somers leading at 20-0. A couple of short touchdown runs by Russell Liu and a 9-yard run by the quarterback Kevin Halloran. 2 out of 3 in the extra points for Dan McCarron, and that's where we stand at Somers 20, Kennedy nothing.
Dick Knight out there, and he's letting them know that, look, JFK is going to be passing the ball, and we're going to need two things. We're going to need pass rush, and secondly, we don't want to give up the long touchdown. We'll give them up something in front, but let's not give them the 6 points. And if it means even getting a penalty in high school ball, then do that, because what it does is it brings it back to the line of scrimmage, which is unlike the pro game.
Okay, that is a good point. I think that's also true in college ball now. There, but he's snowed under at the 28 for a loss of 2. As the snap that time never quite completed, clock continues to move. I think Kennedy is out of timeout as the clock shows 30 seconds to go until halftime. Kennedy really has to get up to that line of scrimmage, get this play off quickly. Here they come now.
They should call a couple of plays at this point.
It's a 2nd and 12 from the 28 in the shotgun. Hauge back to pass, pumps once, rolls out to his right. Now cocks his arm and throws into the end zone, and it is going to be incomplete. Diving in the back of the end zone, number 30, Tim Corcoran. As once again, Mr. Hauge throws a nice ball, but good coverage on the play that time as back there for Somers. That could be number 83, Tom Gorman, coming out of his end position. And so it'll bring up now a 3rd and 12. Clock shows 10 seconds to go until halftime.
Very impressed with this kid, Mike Hoagie, for John F. Kennedy there. He did a smart play there. The defense was all over him. He faked one time, got the defense to go in the air, and then he rolled out to the right side. Got a decent pass off, but just couldn't quite complete it. They got 10 seconds left on the clock.
Well, he's not losing his poise. That's one thing.
All right, Hauge in shotgun, back to pass again, rushes on, screenplay developing. It's complete to Papa. Papa down the far sideline, and apparently he stepped out of bounds at about the 18-yard line of Somers. Clock now shows 3 seconds to go, so perhaps time for one more play. As Kennedy, as we've said, moving very nicely on this last-minute drive here in the second quarter.
That was a wise call and also a wise move, heady ball player there stepping out of bounds. But I think that's one of the plays that this particular defense is giving them. That play was wide open when they took advantage of it.
4th and 5 from the 20. Big play here for Kennedy. Back to pass goes Hauge. Looks, throws over the middle, and it's intercepted right into the arms of 63 Pete Pappas, the linebacker, who falls down. And with that interception is the end of the first half. So we've completed 2 periods of football here at homecoming day at John F. Kennedy High School. Be sure to stay with us for our halftime activities with Tom Barodi and Tim Malsbury. But right now, our score at halftime is Somers 20 and JFK nothing.
Okay.
just broken through. Certainly a gorgeous day here. Somers kicking off to John Jay. The second half is underway. It's a short kick. That's a free ball now as it's going to be picked up by 22 for Kennedy, Mike Weir. And he has it at the 25-yard line and takes it to about the 25. And that's where Kennedy will start as they move right to left in the white pants, blue jerseys, white numerals, blue helmets. As Somers defending the goal to our left, the scoreboard end of the field, in the silver pants, white jerseys, red numerals, silver helmets, and they have the 20-0 lead. Phil DeRocco back with us after a halftime break. And Phil, we'll see if Kennedy can move the ball the way they did there at the end of the first
We'll see what their strategy is here. Maybe they'll go after a little bit at a time. They have a whole half football left, and they just want to pick up one at this point.
All right, here is the handoff to Papa. And Don Papa takes it from the 25 up to the 29, where he is stopped by Tom Gorman, number 72, John Sullivan, the left defensive tackle. After a gain of 5, so they go from the 25 to the 30, second and 5 coming up for the Kennedy Gales here at homecoming day at John F. Kennedy High School. Here is Hauge giving it to Papa again. Papa with some good running. And he is close to first down yardage as they operate right in front of our VIP van. As he's going to be just about a half a yard short. They have to get it just over the 35 to pick up the first. The nose of the ball is on the 35 right now. So third and a half a yard to go here for Kennedy.
Papa's older brother played football here. He was quite a football player and a baseball player. And his dad at one time was the assistant football coach down at Briarcliff for a number of years, assisting Ed Hoffman.
And I think we're going to have some encroachment against Somers, which will give Kennedy the first down. Looked like the defensive end over there on that far side. Steve Del Duco perhaps jumped off. And that's going to give Kennedy the first down as we continue to be marred by penalties here in our VIP game of the week. Somers leading at 20-0 with 3 touchdowns in that first half. We've played about a minute here, third quarter, and we still have a 20-0 score.
Well, it's first down right now, and if Kennedy can keep something going here in terms of maybe turning the tide of this ball game, now's the time to do it.
All right, there's some good faking, and it goes to Papa. Papa on the carry. He's carried the first 3 times. That's, boy, a big cloud of dust up there again in the middle of the field where there is not too much grass and very, very dry. Papa carries from the 40 up to the 42, second and 8 coming up.
I don't blame Coach Middlestaff for keep on giving the ball to Donald Papa, a senior at 6'0", 185 pounds. I'm sure he's got to get that ball in the end zone sometime today.
All right, here comes the second down play from the 42. Once again, almost offsides. Here's the rollout, and nothing too much doing as Hauke carried the football, tried to turn the corner on the right side. Met hard that time by the nose guard. Check at the right tackle, Scott Plantholt for Somers. And very short gain, no gain on that play. It'll be 3rd and 8 coming up. Well, they gave him a gain. We'll say 3rd and a long 7. Line of scrimmage is Kennedy's own 43-yard line as they come to the line of scrimmage. Looking at a 3rd and a long 7 here.
All the fields in Westchester are having their problems with this drought.
All right, Hauke calls the signals. The man in motion comes over to the left side. Hauke back to pass, looks, throws, and it's complete. It's complete to Lundy. Lundy is close to first down yardage, and I believe he has it across the 50-yard line down to about the 47 of Somers. So Mike Hoke, again, picking up where he left off late in that second quarter. Drilled one in there. Nice ball to Lundy, who made the catch. Gained a few yards after that. Now has a first down for Kennedy.
As you leave at halftime, usually you make adjustments. Now, Somers will have to make some adjustments defensively, which I'm sure this is going on in both tonight.
Pat off the right hand, off the side. They told there being blown out by the and Pat Burke for the Kennedy Gales, right guard, right tackle. As Papa carries from the 47 down to about the 44, we'll say a gain of 3, 2nd and 7 coming up. Somers leading at 20-0 as they are looking for their 4th win of the season. Kennedy looking to continue their winning ways. They defeated Byron Hills last week. Here's Papa carrying the ball, and he is stacked up hard at the line of scrimmage for no gain. As John Sullivan in there on the stop for Somers once again, the left defensive tackle doing a fine job. The rest of that defensive unit for Somers will be defensive ends Steve Del Duco and Bell. The tackles are Plantholt and Sullivan. The linebackers Stola, Pappas, Gorman, and Gillen. The 2 defensive halfbacks, Paul Gaminer and Vinny LaRocca, the safety, Dan Webster. As Kennedy here looking at a 3rd and 7 from the 43. Hoke back to pass, looks, throws, and it's almost intercepted. Intended that time for Tom Hauser. And defending on the play that time was Paul Gaminer, the defensive halfback, and he had a good shot at intercepting that. But a fall's incomplete, so fourth down. We'll see what Kennedy does right here as Hauke looks over. I think they might go for it here, Phil.
Well, the timing was a little off on that pass play, and
I'm going to punt.
I think that's a wise decision right now. Field position is still a key, and it's early in the second half.
Okay, 4 minutes gone by third quarter. Here's Hagee, another gorgeous punt. Look at that ball spiral into the end zone, I believe. No, apparently not, because he's running it out of there. It's 42, Gaminer. And Gaminer gets it across the 10 up to about the 12-yard line. That ball from here, Phil, certainly looked like it was in the end zone.
Yeah, it did.
But, of course, on a punt, once it goes in, it's an automatic touchback, so it must have been just on the goal line.
I think, looking back with a 20-0 lead, he did what was probably a wise move. He was able to catch it and get it out of there. I think if it was a closer game or you were behind, then you might have some thoughts.
All right, as you say, Phil, field position so important. And now he has that field position. Somers with a 1st and 10. They operate from their own 12-yard line. Kevin Halloran is the quarterback, and he's going to give it to Anthony Chaka. And Chaka off the right side. I believe it was Chaka. Let's see. Might have been Russell Liu. Nope, I was correct. It was Hal Eaton. So number 40 as those Somers uniforms getting very, very dirty. Hard to pick out the numbers as we look into the bright sun off to our left. And no gain on that play, so we'll say 2nd and 10 for Somers from about their own 12-yard line.
And what it is that combination of sweat and the dirt from the field, and that's how you get dirty uniforms. Usually you connect that with a rainy, muddy day, but that's not the case today.
Here's Halloran looking to pass. It's complete to Russell Liu. Liu breaks one tackle on the sideline. Down the near sideline, dancing. And Russell Liu has it all the way up to the 38-yard line. First down, Somers. Well, we've seen both teams throwing from deep. That time, a short drop back by the quarterback, Halloran, hit Russell Liu coming out of the backfield. Liu made a nice run after he caught the football, put on a beautiful move over here, and has a first down. Somers, they're out of trouble at 38. Again, good call that time. Tim caught him off guard.
Very swift this kid is. When he catches the ball, as you mentioned, Rich, once he catches the ball, he looks upfield, and he usually gets another 10 yards after he gets his hands on the ball.
Well, the reason he got another 10 yards was Anthony Chaka went downfield and laid off a nice block, and that was the other key to picking up the extra yardage.
1st and 10 for the 38. Halloran gives to Tony Chaka, and Chaka has it up across the 40 to about the 44-yard line, perhaps the 45. We'll see exactly where they put it down. Well, apparently his knee touched down at about the 43, so we'll say a gain of 44. We'll say a gain of 6, 2nd and 4 coming up. 6:25 to go here, third quarter. Somers leads at 20-0. All right, Halloran calls the signals on this 2nd and 4 as he fakes the handoff, gives to Eaton, and a flag goes down. Tony Sabella throws a flag into that pile. I think we might have some holding here, and we will. Holding call is going to go against the Somers Tuskers. So it would have been 3rd and short yardage. Well, now, if they accept the penalty, I believe they will turn into 2nd and about 20.
No real standouts on this John F. Kennedy defense. I'm not saying there's no good ball players there, except the captain, Rob Donahue. What their head coach Middlestad has said is it's just a team effort that we have. There's no one real individual that stands out. Of course, we've got the captain in Donahue, but it's just a team effort, and if we're going to win a game today, we've got to keep Somers from scoring points, and they haven't done that so far in the contest.
It's a holding call against Somers, as we said, 15-yard walk-off. And we should give a little plug here to one of the Kennedy players, which we'll do in just a minute. Number 66 in the blue jersey over on the far side. After this play, we'll mention the young man's name. Here is Halloran rolling back, looks, throws. It's complete. It's complete to Russell Liu. Liu bobbing and weaving and almost has the first down as he gets it across the 40 up to about the 42. Number 66 for the Kennedy Gales, Paul Galluccio, the son of our fine VIP station manager, Josephine Galluccio. And I'd like to see Mr. Galluccio get in a little action here. And perhaps he will. He's a senior, 5'10", 190, plays tackle both ways. And Josephine, if you're listening, Paul is here. He's dressed and ready for action. Okay, 3rd down. Here is Halloran back to pass. Flag is down. He looks, he throws it. Intercepted. Intercepted by Casey. Casey down the far sideline, now cuts inside. And Casey has good field position to the 35-yard line. Now let's check out the penalty. Oh, there's a flag also down on the far side of the field. And let's see here. This could be a big turn of events. They're talking to Kennedy, so perhaps Kennedy will...
one of them definitely is against Somers. I'm not sure of the other one.
Why not?
I didn't see it.
Oh, okay. Tony Sabella explaining all of the options.
With his mock turtleneck on this 75-degree weather.
And they're going to decline the penalty, take the ball, so a nice interception will go into the books for Paul Casey, defensive end, and co-captain. And so Kennedy now with excellent field position. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Kennedy Gales. And we'll see exactly where they're going to put it down here as the yard mark is being strewn about just a bit. Looks to be at the 35-yard line. So 1st and 10 for Kennedy at the Somers 35. All right, Hauge has boys up. He's going to give to Papa. That seems to be the game plan this half. Papa off the right side. Looks to have it down close to the 30-yard line of Somers. As a good gain of 5 yards. Leading the defensive charge that time for Somers. Steve Del Duco, the right defensive end. And John Sullivan also in on the stop. So a gain of about 5. We'll say 2nd and 5 coming from the 30 of Somers.
Somers running out of a 4-4 defense primarily and really doing a good job. Now, once in a while, they'll bring an odd man over the center like you see right now. But basically, they've run out of 4 front.
All right, here's a pitch out going wide. It goes to Cochran. Cochran tries to turn the corner right side. But the Somers defense does a good job. There goes a late flag after the play has been whistled dead. So we'll see what this is. I'd hate to be the statistician today counting up the penalty yards. You're going to need your calculator with an extra set of batteries because we've had a lot of flags thrown this afternoon.
Very important for Kennedy to score on this possession that they have. Started out on the 35. We know they were down there before. They kicked the ball from the 40-yard line. As we mentioned, a lot of time left in the second half. A wise move by Middlestat, showing some confidence in his defense. Let's punt the ball, see if we can get Somers deep in their own end zone, at least deep down in their own end of the field, and then see if we can hold them there, and then we'll get good field position. They came up with a turnover on an interception by the kid Casey, and now they started with the ball on the 35. Very important that they score, get some points on the board, because they're down right now 20-0.
And this is going to be another walk-off against Somers. And head coach Rich Canida can't be too pleased with that. Let's see what Tony Sabella's signal is. Perhaps some unsportsmanlike conduct because it did come after the whistle had blown.
Looks like they didn't mark off enough there. Mr. Sabella didn't have his computer with him, so...
Well, will be a holding call against Somers. 1st down for Kennedy. And let's see where that is. That looks to be at about the 13-yard line.
They've got to take advantage of these breaks. If they don't, then they really can only blame themselves.
1st and 10 for Kennedy at the 30-yard line. Here's Papa. Papa breaks one tackle, but hit down hard after he gets to the 10. Almost another late hit in there. As leading the defensive charge that time was Del Duco, the right defensive end for Somers. And looks to be a gain of about 2. We'll say they started from the 12. They're down now to the 10, so 2nd and 8 for Kennedy from the 10-yard line of Somers. Somers leads in the game 20-0, scoring all of their points in the first half. Hauke has the boys up, and he's going to give to Pop again. Pop off the left side this time. He's a strong, strong runner. Has it inside the 10, down to about the 6-yard line.
And he's only a sophomore.
Yes.
He's a big boy. From what I'm seeing here, it's possible for JFK to get a 1st down and not score. Is that correct, Rich?
That looks to be correct, Phil. Looks like that yard marker. Of course, it was a goal-to-goal situation. They would not have the yard markers up, and it looks like they could pick up a 1st down at about the 2. Right. All right, here comes a 3rd and about 6. And it looks like some movement there. Here's Papa again. Tony does throw the flag. Papa has it down inside the 5. But I think we're going to have a little illegal procedure or backfield in motion. Looks like a little bit of movement there in the backfield.
Now, there certainly was movement. I didn't see where. I saw movement, but I didn't know who did it. And it looks like, at a time when you don't want those types of mistakes, at least can afford them. That's exactly what Kennedy is doing right now. In fact, there goes the trophy. There's the new athletic director at John F. Kennedy, Mrs. Mora.
Pat Muir, I believe. And
she and Frank Leahy, who's the athletic director at Somers, are discussing the trophy as to maybe they may decide it amongst themselves and not the teams. I don't know what's going on.
Well, these two teams play every year for the Patrick V. Ryan Memorial Trophy. Unfortunately, I do not know who Patrick V. Ryan was. Philip, can you help me on that one?
I'm sorry, Rich.
Don't look to me, Rich, because I was going to ask you the same thing.
Okay, we really should know that. That's just not doing my homework because we've been here for a few of these games. But nevertheless, the trophy will be awarded to the winner of this game, as it is every year. All right, Kennedy penalized 5 yards. It backs him up just a bit to the 16-yard line now, where it'll be 3rd and 11. Here's Hauge back to pass, looks, throws over the middle, and it is incomplete, almost intercepted. Intercepted, intended that time for Mike Farkas. Farkas had to go off his fingertips up in the air. There's that tip play again, and it was incomplete.
Richard, a pass that I think could have been caught. Farkas, of course, he's at 6'2". The ball was high in the air. He got two hands on the ball, a couple defenders around him. But I think it's a ball when you're down 20 to nothing, a little more concentration. I think he could have caught it and possibly 6 points on the board.
You notice that most of the passes are high, though, and I think the quarterback is sometimes overthrown. I think that'll come with experience, but he's got to try to, I think, lay that ball out there a little more. Sometimes you can blame an end because a quarterback throws a hard ball.
And here's a 4th and 11 pass play in the end zone intended for Dunphy, and it's incomplete. So the ball goes over on downs to Somers as Kennedy's scoring threat has gone by the boards here. A couple of incompleted passes. Of course, the 5-yard penalty didn't help either. And so Somers takes over on downs, looking to preserve their shutout. They continue to lead 20 to nothing. The clock shows 2:31 to go here, third quarter. And Somers has the football back with a 1st and 10 at the 14-yard line, we'll call it, as they operate away from us. Here is Chayka. Chayka off the right side, breaking tackles. Then he sits down hard after he gets it up to about the 20-yard line for a good gain of 5 yards. Anthony Chayka, number 44 for Somers. And he has one long run to his credit this year. I imagine now head coach Canida will just look to use as much of the clock as he can as we get late into this football game here. Just about 2 minutes to go, third period. As Somers now looks at a 2nd and 5 from about the 16 or 17-yard line, their own 16 or 17. Halloran calls the signals. He's going to give to Russell Liu. Liu has some room off the right side. Liu knocked out of bounds after he picks up the first down out to about the 30-yard line. Russell Liu certainly isn't a very big youngster for a fullback. That's where he's listed. But he has some very fine moves, certainly a fine football player.
Out of the wing T, usually is your primary back, and that's the guy you have to stop defensively when you face a wing T team. But I'm impressed with the whole backfield. They've got 4 fine kids back there, athletics-wise anyway, and their line has done a great job all day.
1st and 10 at the 30. Somers with the football, and here's that counter play again, and it goes to Chayka. Chayka has almost going to go. He's at the 50. Foot races on down the far sideline. He's at the 30. Chayka Will's going to go all the way. He's at the 10. He's at the 5. Touchdown, Somers. It's a 70-yard run for Tony Chayka, and he did it all on his own, just outrunning the Kennedy defense down the far sideline. 70 yards for Chayka. Somers leads it now 26 to nothing.
There's that counter play again against the grain. You were just mentioning about Anthony Chayka having a couple of long runs. Well, there's another one that he can add to his list, and that was a great run out. A 21 trap, counter back up across the middle, and just caught everybody off guard on Somers, on JFK's defense.
As Richard mentioned, it was nothing less than a foot race, so it came down to a long run. The only guy that had a shot at him was number 84, Tom Hauser, a senior at 5'10", and it was a foot race, and Chayka just outran him for a long, very impressive run.
All right, the touchdown comes with 1:24 to go here, third quarter. McCarron will try to add the 27-point, and he drills it through. It is up, and it is good. Tony Sabella with the hands up, signaling good as they come back up the field. 1:24 to go. Third quarter, Somers now leads it 27 to nothing.
After the game today, head on over to Chuck's Steakhouse in Bedford Hills. They are ready for you with the finest in prime ribs, steaks, top sirloin, New York strip steaks, and steak teriyaki, plus generous fish dishes and even whole lobsters. And don't forget Chuck's sumptuous salad bar, the first and still the best around. Enjoy the comfortable atmosphere, friendly service, and great food and drink of Chuck's Steakhouse, 728 North Bedford Road, Route 117 in Bedford Hills. Call ahead if you wish at 241-1826. That's 241-1826. Chuck's Steakhouse after the game today or any day. You'll love it.
All right, Somers now on top 27 to nothing. And then McCarron sets the kick off, and there's the kick, end over end, straight down the middle of the field. And Tim Coughlin has it at 10, 15, 20, 25, up to the 30, tries to squirm away, but nothing doing. He stopped at the 30-yard line. So Kennedy now will put the ball in play on the short end of his 27 to nothing score. And right now, Philip, I guess it's just pride time right here on homecoming day at JFK.
Well, from what we've seen so far today, it doesn't look like JFK can come back from 27 to nothing. So what they've got to do, right, is rely on their pride and try to work on things that they think can make them a better ball club. Somers at this point is going to try to get as many people in and I'm sure, get ready for next week.
Here's Hagee throwing quickly over the middle, and it's complete to Matt Lundy. Good for about 10 yards. Looks to be first down for the Kennedy Gales. So Mr. Hauge with a nice pass that time. And he has certainly shown us something at both ends in terms of kicking and passing the football. Fine athlete here at John F. Kennedy, Mike Hauge. And let's see here. He is a senior, 6 feet, 175-pounder.
The old triple threat.
Hauge back to pass again, looks, throws over the middle, and it's grabbed again by Lundy. Vicious hit put on that time by Vinny LaRocca. Flag on the play as well. Roughing the passer that time, Phil?
Well, no, I think he may have felt that that he hit that back, even though he caught it a little too early.
Yep, I think that is the call.
And if it is, it's going to be 15 yards from line of scrimmage, which may be more than he gained on the reception.
I think it will be. He only gained about 5 on the reception. We are under 1 minute to go here, first quarter. Third quarter. It's been a long afternoon here at Kennedy, or are we at Fox Lane, Tim? I can't remember.
Oh, you're a classic.
As we are winding down here in this third period, and that will be they will accept a 15-yard penalty against Somers for pass interference. So now Kennedy on the move at the 45-yard line. They are looking for one man line. His partner, half back pass, but throws the middle. It's knocked away. That time looks like Tom Gordon, one of the linebackers. Knocking the ball away. 20 seconds. So it's good.
It's a case of knowing which arm to defend with, and that comes through teaching defensive technique, just like guarding in basketball, so that you don't foul or you don't, in this case, create a penalty, and he did a great job of that.
Okay, 2nd and 10. Here's Papa carrying the football, and nothing too much doing as they go 2nd and 10 from the 45. That might be the last play of this third quarter as the clock shows 13 seconds to go in it. And, of course, it moves with the running play. Somers leads at 27-0. They have been impressive. They have some fine running backs, Russell Liu and Anthony Cheka, who has just broken a 70-yard run. And I believe that's going to be it. That's the end of the third quarter here at our VIP Cable 12 Game of the Week. Homecoming day at JFK. Our score after 3, Somers 27, Kennedy nothing.
No matter how much you spend for a new car, the world is going to make it ugly. So bring your car to Z-Bart, because nobody hates ugly more than Z-Bart. Rust-proofing is just the beginning of Z-Bart's complete program to protect your car from all the things that can make it ugly. Bring your new car to Z-Bart now for their total protection package. Z-Bart at 660 North Broadway in White Plains and 142 Green Lane across from the ShopRite Shopping Center entrance in Bedford Hills. Call 948-4664 or 666-3488.
All right, as we start the fourth quarter, excuse me, we start the fourth quarter, it'll be a 3rd and about 9 for JFK. And the line of scrimmage is the 45-yard line at Somers. As we change ends, Kennedy now moving left to right away from the scoreboard. And let's see what this whistle is all about.
I think somebody didn't have their chin strap up or mouth guard in.
Okay. Now we're set. 3rd and 9. Hauge goes back to pass, rushes on. Oh, he breaks away there. Now he takes off on the run, but he's still going to lose some yardage as he's brought down back at about the 45. I don't know how he got away from that one young man coming in. He really just ducked the shoulders and moved away. But the Somers defense just too much for him afterwards. And it'll be 4th and 9 now for Kennedy. Line of scrimmage is the Somers 44, and I believe Bob Middlestat will kick the football away right here.
I believe so, Rich, and he's going to hope maybe some kind of a turnover or whatever. Either way, he's got to go for the field position.
As Hauge will kick the football away. He gets a high snap. Oh, it's a fake. He's going to throw off of that, and he throws, and it is incomplete. Oh, a flag goes down. We might have some pass interference, as there was some bumping there. I don't know if it was really inadvertent or not, but we'll see what the call is going to be, Phil.
Well, that's what it looks like from this angle, Rich. I tell you, number 30 was open over here on the side, and there wasn't anybody from Somers near him at all. But he chose to throw down the middle, which is fine if you consider that the penalty was part of that deal.
Good point, Phil. That was number 30. Timothy Corcoran, as you mentioned, he was wide open. He did not notice him at all. He was wide open over here. Would have been the play that he wanted. They would have gained it, but obviously there's a penalty on the play, and things are accomplished, and Kennedy still has the ball.
Okay, so off the fake punt that time. Like to see a little razzle-dazzle there by head coach Bob Middlestat. Pays off as they get the call, and it's a 1st and 10 at the 30. Whoop. Here's the shotgun going over the head of Hauge. He's going to try to run it out of there now, and he's going to be hit down very hard at the 35-yard line. They've been playing with fire all afternoon with that one because there have been numerous snaps that have been high. Hauge has been able to go up to get them, but that one just went sailing over his head, and he did a nice job of recovering, but still lost 5 yards. So it'll be 2nd and 15 from the 35.
You like to eliminate those type of problems. The shotgun offense should be executed simple enough to just be able to get that ball back to your quarterback. And the purpose of it is to eliminate part of the pass rush.
Hauge again in the shotgun, 2nd and 15. He throws a home run ball, and it's going to be well incomplete. As you intended that time for Jim Gilchrist, number 40. 3 Somers defenders back there defending on the play. Closest man to the ball was number 24, looks like. Let's see, no, number 12 coming upfield. Was that 42? Looks like 42, Paul Gaminer, trotting back.
Rich, got to give this kid Mike Hauge, quarterback for John F. Kennedy, some credit today. He's been under a lot of pressure. As Phil mentioned, some high snaps, which they'd like to avoid, but they haven't. They're having trouble getting the ball from the center back to Hauge, but he's run a lot of times with the ball today. He's got the ball off under a lot of pressure, and I tell you, he runs the ball up the field. He doesn't run out of bounds. He puts his head down.
He's a good athlete. There he goes up high again. Here's a screenplay developing. It's complete to Papa. Papa has some blockers out in front. But a nice recovery by the Somers defense brings Papa down at the 30-yard line, where they'll be well short of the first down. It'll be 4th and 10 from the 30, but I imagine they'll go right here down inside Somers territory.
I think they've got to go for it, Rich, because even if they don't make it here, they're still going to give Somers relatively poor field position.
Okay, clock is moving with just under 10 minutes to go here, 4th quarter. Somers on top 27-0.
You talk about a beautiful day, October 20th. This is really hard to believe.
That'll be close to 80 degrees here, standing in the sun, I'll tell you. Hope it continues. Here's the 4th down play, 4th and 10 from the 30. In the shotgun, Hauge looks, throws quickly over the middle, and it's complete, but it'll be short of the first down as Tom Hauser made the reception, but just a little bit short as they come up a little short there at the 25. And the ball will go over on down. 1st and 10 for Somers. Okay. Just a little banter here on the top of the VIP van. It's yours truly, Rich Leaf, Tom Baroni, Tim Lawsbury, and Baby Cakes himself, Phil DeRocco.
I'm glad the truck's not moving. I've been on a few years when the trucks were moving while we were broadcasting.
I was telling the guys about that before. Old Bill Draper used to do that on us. Here's Holloran rolling out on 1st down, dancing. He gets it across the 30 up to the 32-yard line. Nice run that time by Holloran. Good 7-yard gain as they go from the 25 to the 32. 2nd and 3 coming up.
You know, even though the score is 27-0, you know Kennedy is just a rival in a homecoming game here. They want to put some points on the board. Even though Somers has the ball right now, it's not going to be easy for Kennedy to score because I know darn well the Somers Tuskers do not want to let Kennedy score, and they'd like to lead here. It's 27-0 now. They might put some more points on the board.
All right, here comes the 2nd down play. And in on that stop for Kennedy, number 66 in blue, Paul Galluccio, just came into the game at defensive tackle. And he put his nose right into that football, brought down the Somers ball carrier. But a little bit late because they did pick up the first down. But we're certainly happy to see Paul Galluccio, the son of our station manager, Josephine Galluccio, in the game. So it looks like we'll get paid this week, guys.
I don't think Kennedy is let down at all, Tim, as you've mentioned. I think they've really hung in there. They're just being beat by a better ball club.
All right, here's the handoff to Russell Lou as they go 1st and 10 from the 38. Lou gets it across the 40, up to about the 41 or 42 for a gain of 3. 2nd and 7 coming up.
Phil, I want to touch back on something you spoke about earlier. You said, okay, what is Coach Gonidah going to do? Let some ball players into the game now or get ready for next week's game? If you were Gonidah, what would you do?
Yeah, I would try to get as many people in. We have a squad like this, morale becomes very important, and it is not always easy in a team sport to try to keep everybody happy. Now, football is as fortunate, like basketball, where you can substitute on special teams, on punt return, on kickoff return. But when you get an opportunity at 27-0, and you know you've got a big ball game coming up, and the spirit of practice week becomes very important starting on Monday, then I think you've got to try to get as many players in. Also, you don't want an injury. If you've got a healthy team, you'd like to make sure that those kids don't get hurt in a 27-0 win with 8 minutes to go.
Okay, on the second down play, it was carried by Wilkinson. Somers right back up to the line of scrimmage quickly for the 3rd and 8 from the 40. And a flag goes down as the handoff went that time to Dave Messing. As we have some new backfield men in there now. Steve Wilkinson for Somers, wearing number 24, along with Dave Messing, number 20. Once again, the old penalty, and again, Phil, talking about getting ready for John Jay next week from the standpoint of Rich Gnida. I'm sure when he looks back over this game, he'll be a little bit disappointed with the number of penalties against his team.
I'll tell you, the officials are certainly going to wash their little yellow cloth after this game. They've been out there all afternoon, and it's a shame because you would like to see as error-free game as possibly can happen.
Third down, 3rd and 12 coming here for Somers from the 35-yard line. Halloran back to pass in the pocket, looks, throws, incomplete. As the intended receiver that time was Wilkinson, and he looked to be pinned down by Paul Casey there, but apparently he had slipped down because no flag was thrown, Phil.
That's the way it looks, Rich.
Number 40, Jim Gilchrist on that one, who's the senior at 5'11", is a defensive end there. Came in very quickly on the Somers quarterback, but luckily he got the ball off.
So 4th down, and apparently Somers will kick the football away. So Kennedy will get their hands on it one more time, looking to get some points on the board.
We go back, Rich, when Rich Gnida took this program over. If you remember that year, they went to a bowl game. And that was, a key in terms of Somers turning their football program. Now, they had a couple of down seasons after that, but now they're sort of back on an upbeat. They were 500 last year. I believe they were 4-4-1. And now this year they've got the winning record, and it looks like they're going to be 2-0 in a league on that punt.
Here is Gorman kicking to Phil Capra. And Capra takes it from his 20 up to about the 35-yard line of Kennedy. Phil Capra playing a fine game today for the Kennedy Gales. And I don't know about you guys, but I am dripping wet here in this hot late October sun. Can't believe it.
It's unbelievable. The sun is right on us right now, and I'll tell you, I'm sorry that frost got to my tomato plants.
I guess we've talked about everything here this afternoon, from football to tomato plants. But getting back to action, 1st and 10 from the 45. Hauge back to pass, looks and throws, and it's intercepted by number 26 for Somers, Tim Gillen, and he is going to take it all the way in there. Touchdown, Somers. 40-yard run with the intercepted pass by Tom Gillen. Coming out of his linebacking position, Somers leads it now 33-0.
Well, he did a great job of staying in his area, and that ball was floated out there, and it didn't seem like the Kennedy man even knew where it was, but certainly the Somers man did. He picked it off, went down the left sideline, and that just adds to this particular game, 33-0.
33-0 it is, and I think my prediction's getting somewhat close. I said before this game is over, Somers is going to put 40 points on the board. And it's not just the offense gotten those points. You've got to give the defense a lot of credit today. They've held Kennedy when Kennedy's been down close. Of course, I think the closest they've been is about 9 yards out, and they weren't able to score. The defense has done an excellent job, and so has the offense. I tell you, this Somers team looks tough, and they look strong in every position, from kicking to punting, offense to defense. They're a good team. We're going to see an excellent game next week for John J. Somers.
I really think that game to us should be a real interesting contest. John Davies went to 5 in a row. And I believe this one to go off the left, flag is thrown, another one goes down. Tony Sabella saying the kick was good. Either that or just hold your horses, everyone. And we'll see what happens here on the penalty, but the kick really doesn't matter at this point. Somers has 33 points on the board. There are 2 touchdowns here in this second half coming on big plays. 70-yard run by Tony Cheka and the 40-yard interception by Tom Gillen. And let's see what the story is right here. And apparently the kick will be not good, and the penalty will be assessed on the kickoff. Rich Gnida out inquiring as to what the flag was. Don't forget to join us tonight at 5:30 for the VIP scoreboard. Oh, okay. Makes you look a little taller, huh? Okay, Somers set the kickoff with 6:17 to go. They lead 33-0 in the game. This one has long since been decided. And we'll just hang in here for the last 6 minutes or so. as Dan McCarron has it teed up on the 40, and there's a low line drive kick, bouncing it around the 20, and that's a free ball finally picked up over there by 32 in blue Kevin Shield, and Shield runs it back to about the 30 or 32, where Kennedy will put it in play first and 10. And we really should say a word here about this beautiful John F. Kennedy campus. Tim and I were talking about that before. Situated here on Route 138, modern buildings, and of course the trees changing colors. We'd like to thank Athletic Director Pat Muir for her help in getting us set, head coach Bob Middlestat. And we always like to come here to Kennedy. Beautiful ride in here on Route 138 over the bridge. They're building a new one, I noticed, over the river there, or the lake, whatever it is.
Well, you've got both PepsiCo and IBM coming up into this area, and so consequently the roads are going to have to be revamped for prime time morning and afternoon radio.
Okay, here is Hauge, and he's intercepted again. This time Pete Milhunk picked the ball off. And, well, again, it's just been one of those days for the Kennedy Gales. Too bad it has to happen on their homecoming afternoon. But this Somers team, they look like they are for real. And they have the football back. And knowing Rich Ganida, I'm sure he'll run the football right here, Phil, although it gets to be tough in this situation. You can't tell your kids just to lie down. The second stringers want to move that football as well.
Oh, yeah, I think Rich will run an offense. He just won't do anything that's going to, try to rub it in on you, because I think he's got, a lot of class. And as Tim mentioned earlier, Rich is outstanding wrestling coach at this school, and he moves from this sport into wrestling, where he does an outstanding job. In fact, his wife is the field hockey coach, so the Ganida family is very busy in the fall.
Now, Phil, is it correct in saying that he still does coach wrestling at
Oh, yeah, he's the head wrestling coach. Yeah, he's never given that up.
I tell you what, I know he's produced some excellent wrestlers, one of them being his son. We've had Rich on our show one night, and I know he does have some excellence, and he's had many of them win the state.
He does a great job.
Okay, here's Somers now with a 2nd and 5 at the 35. And a new quarterback is in there, Vinny LaRocca, who usually plays defense, working out of the quarterback spot. Flag goes down, which is very fitting in this football game. A lot of miscues by the boys out there. You usually don't see so many this late in the season, Phil. You usually see a lot early in the season.
You just hate to see it, because after a while it just takes away from the game. It makes for a long game, and it also takes away from the enjoyment factor. In the beginning of the game, sometimes you will get them because of the anxiety factor of being very, very psyched up. But good, well-drilled teams, after a while, just learn to eliminate those types of mistakes. This one has been very drawn out because of all the penalties.
And I would say a good 3/4 of them have been against Somers. We mentioned that earlier, that Richard Ganida will have to iron a few things out, because you really can't afford to make those kind of mistakes against a team like John Jay. Okay, 2nd and 25. The ball is back to the 50-yard line. 5 minutes to go in the game. Somers leading at 33-0. As the Somers Tuskers up to the line of scrimmage. Vinny LaRocca in there at quarterback as head coach Ganida gets some new faces in there on the offensive unit. LaRocca will go back to pass. It's a draw play, but nothing is doing at all, as number 30 that time carried the football, Pete Mohawk, and he was backed up at the line of scrimmage for no gain.
You mentioned about the campus here, and it is beautiful, but one thing that I've always felt bad about was that they have never gotten around to building a baseball diamond on this field, and for years the John F. Kennedy baseball team had to play all of its games away, and to this day I believe they may play some of their home games down in Bedford type of thing, but I would like to see them, at least get some room here. They have plenty of room for a baseball field.
Out on a 3rd and long yardage, it's a quarterback keeper by LaRocca. And a gain of a couple, so it'll still be 4th down and long yardage. So once again, Kennedy will punt, Somers will punt the football away. Tom Gorman is in. We're coming down close to the 4-minute warning. And the way things are going right here, it seems to me the sooner this game ends, the better off it'll be. You hate to see any team on the short end of a 33-0 score, Phil.
There's no doubt. And, Bob Middlestat, being a young coach, he's also the head baseball coach here, knows that he's going to have to pick up the pieces and work with it. He's got a fine coaching staff. I believe Mike Marini, who's a JFK graduate, went on to Colgate and had a tryout with the pros this past spring and summer, and did not make it at that point. Has come back to his alma mater, is also contributing on the staff. It's going to take a while. They may be a year away, but they're going to have to continue to work, and they're going to have to work harder than the kids are at this point, because that's what makes and develops a program, is a lot of hard work and getting enthusiasm and building confidence, and it's just not going to be an easy situation.
All right, here comes the punt by Gorman. And he wobbles it out of there, and it's going to be taken by 85, Matt Lundy. And Lundy tries to come up this near sideline, gathers it in the 25, gets it across the 30 to the 32, where Kennedy will put it in play first and 10 at the 32, trailing in the game 33-0.
I know Kennedy would like to put some points on the board, as you just mentioned, Rich. 3:33 left in this ball game in the fourth quarter, down 33-0. Just for a little respect on a homecoming, I know Kennedy would like to put a couple points on the board, but once again, I don't care even if the second string is in on this Somers team. They do not want to let Kennedy score. As you mentioned, Gnight is not going to rub things in. He's a class act, but I know they'd like to put some points on the board.
This is where you've got two sets of pride going at it. You know, it's JFK trying to get on the board, and the pride of the Somers Tuskers trying to hold that shutout. You know, some coaches put a lot of relevance in a shutout, and other coaches, you know, don't worry about it. But you've got to set some goals, I think, each week. Sometimes shutouts are a part of that strategy.
All right, on first down, they gained a couple of yards. New quarterback is in there for Kennedy. It's Tim Gould. And he's going to go back to pass, left-handed out of there, and it is going to be complete to Dave Messing. Correction on that, complete to Phil Capra. And Capra has it out to about the 35-yard line, where he stopped on the play. Clock is stopped for the moment at 2:45 to go here, fourth quarter. Don't forget, 5:30 tonight, VIP Radio, 1310 on your AM dial, the scoreboard show with scores and highlights from all over Westchester, Rockland, Putnam, and Dutchess County. And highlights, and we'll be speaking with a few of the head coaches. We'll have the college rundown, all at 5:30 this afternoon. Here's the shotgun. Gould looks to throws a nice ball. Oh, it's out of the hands of one of the Kennedy men, almost intercepted, as it was intended that time for Glenn Wagner of Kennedy. And coming close to an interception was Tom Masio for Somers. So the clock is stopped again with 2:27 to go, and a second down and about 9 coming for the Kennedy Gales.
Got some other big battles coming up. I'm sure you've talked about them earlier, I guess at the halftime or whatever, but Tom Keone doing a great job at Ossining. Fox Lane continues. That league is still up for grabs, as you mentioned. I don't know. Those games will be coming up. Fox Lane and Greeley, Fox Lane and Ossining and Greeley, right? Those three have to still...
Ossining will play Greeley on the 27th. That's next Saturday. Then we'll be doing Ossining and Fox Lane on November 3rd. And then, of course, Phil, one of our favorite games every year, Fox Lane and Forest Greeley, will go on the 10th of November. As we wind down, you know, it doesn't feel like we're getting near the end of the season with this weather, but only a couple, 2-3 more weeks to go in the regular season, and it'll be bowl time.
I tell you, as an athletic director, I've had one rain-out day all fall.
Same here as an official. Here's a pass completed, and it goes to Matt Lundy. And Lundy has it to the 40-yard line of Somers before he stopped on the play. So Kennedy certainly hasn't given up here. They're looking to get some points on the board, as you guys mentioned. We've got 1:38 to go in the football game, and Kennedy would love to tack on at least 6 here in front of the homecoming crowd.
Got to give credit to this Kennedy team. As you mentioned, Rich, you know, only 1:35 left in the game. They're down by 33 points. They're just trying their hearts out still.
All right, first and 10 at the 40. Here is Gould back to pass again. Throws it left-handed way up in the air and incomplete. So it'll be second and 10 coming from the 40. Now, while we have a minute here, Phil Duraco, in case we don't have time later, let me thank you for spending your Saturday afternoon with us here as our guest commentator. I know you're very, very busy with your job as athletic director at Irvington High School. You travel around with them during the course of the fall. We really appreciate you taking time out to be with us here. And just like old times, and sorry we can't do it more often, but at least once a year, we certainly look forward to having you. So thank you very much, Phil, for joining us.
I appreciate it, Rich. You know, the years I did it, I enjoyed it. So when I get a chance to come back after that fine run by number 22 on John F. Kennedy.
Mike Weir taking the pass from Gould, has it down close to the 20. Go ahead.
I've been able to enjoy it, and I think it's a great service. There are a lot of high schools throughout the United States that do not get the opportunity to be broadcast over the waves, and here our kids in northern Westchester are getting it over the airwaves as well as cable. So I think that's a great service. I hope that continues to happen. I also thank you. I should have brought my copper tone today because I think I could have got a heck of a tan as well.
All right, here's Gould looking to throw, and again he goes to Capra. It's 1st and 10 from the 24 of Somers, and Capra looks to have it down close to the 20. Clock continues to move with about a minute to go.
So as you mentioned, not too many teams with the opportunity to have their games broadcasted to go on cable TV. But I tell you what, many of the teams we've covered so far this year and some that we haven't are well-deserved of this opportunity. Teams like Ossing that are out there, Fox Lane undefeated, this Somers team. Teams in high school these days have gotten so much more diversified and complicated in their systems. They're good, and they put a lot of work in it, and they deserve this service.
Here's Gould throwing into the end zone. The man is there. Oh, he just quite can't get the handle in the end zone. Number 40, Jim Gilchrist, almost able to pull it in for 6 points for Kennedy, but just fell incomplete, so it'll be 3rd down coming up.
As I travel around, okay, whether it's an AD or a coach is an official, I just know that high school kids, when they find out they're going to be on the air, it just adds another dimension to the game. And it's hard sometimes for us to relate to because we're in another dimension of it. But high school kid, he'll get a tape of that game, and it becomes part of his collection. And it's just great for them to be able to take advantage of it.
3rd and 7 from the 20. Gould back to pass again, and he's brought down behind the line of scrimmage. As breaking in there for Somers, if we can get that very dirty number there on that jersey.
40, Hal Eaton.
Looks to be number 40, Hal Eaton. So it'll be 4th down, and the clock stops now with 18 seconds to go. So this will probably be Kennedy's last attempt at getting some points on the board right here. And they are going to call Somers is going to call a timeout to perhaps get some new guys in. So clock now is down to 7 seconds to go. 4th down for Kennedy. Somers, of course, comfortably on top, 33-0. And Tom Baroni, I think I'm going to let you take the last 7 seconds of this game so I can get a head start back to these. Now they're counting down the clock. But anyway, we have a few seconds left. Somers leading at 33-0. Stay tuned for Tom and the wrap-up show. Phil, again, thank you, and we'll see you on the scoreboard later.
Okay, Rich, thank you.
2 seconds now left to go in this contest. Once again, a shellacking here this afternoon for the Tuskers of Somers over the Gales of Kennedy, 33-0. And you're listening to Radio 13 WVIP Mount Kisco, New York, and VIP Cable Channel 12. Tom Baroni, along with Phil DeRocca, Tim Malsbury, and Rich Leaf. We're here at the John Jay High School in Somers. This, once again, will be the last play of the contest. Kennedy quarterback throwing it up in the air. And it is almost picked off. And that is going to about do it as the Tuskers of Somers have shut out quite handedly homecoming here this afternoon. The Gales of Kennedy, the final score again, 33-0.